Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Claw and the King podcast. Thank you for joining us today on this momentous occasion. I'm joined by my co-host, Dopey. Now, do you have any sort of queries or questions you'd like to start this podcast off with?
Questions?
Yeah, I thought I'd rephrase it a bit different.
Where did you get that tone of voice from?
Well, look, I like to adapt different tones of voices just depending on the situation that I'm, confronted with. So I think this is the voice that I like to transition to sometimes. It's a nice, calm, soothing voice that
do you find people
lets the listener know that I know what I'm talking about.
Do you find people disperse from your proximity when you start using it?
No, I feel like most people understand that my tone of voice
that you're not a pedophile?
No. Just had to drop it immediately. Oh, this video is getting demonetized. We make so much money from these videos, so that's just going to hurt us right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, is there a sport you'd like to start us off with?
Well, look, I was laughing to start this show, so I guess let's make me cry. So we'll start with the NBA. The playoffs have started, obviously, since we last filmed.
Do you want to... I mean, we made... something I noticed right off the bat was we made quite a lot of good predictions in terms of who was going to be matching up against who.
Did we?
I feel like we did. I think we did. We definitely did Orlando Cavs because I remember us thinking how stinky that was going to be. And it turns out we were absolutely right. So good on us. I don't know if did we get Nuggets Lakers as well?
No, it was Timberwolves.
Okay, but we got Clippers Mavs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Clippers Mavs. Did we get any others? I know the Knicks jumped up in the seeding early on, so it didn't really benefit us. Is there
they were all close enough. But
now, did you want to start off with the Lakers, or did you want to...
I mean, we can briefly touch on all the series, I guess. First, in the East, Miami are fucked, obviously. That's a sweep.
How long? Is Jimmy out for the whole series?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yep.
They are Dunskies.
Good job, Boston. Philly, they're somehow losing to the Knicks.
Well, look, the Knicks are a competitive team, but Philly just have so much more talent. It's ridiculous that they're losing.
I know that. I mean, I was looking at the Knicks starting lineup, and I'm like, 5 years ago, this is a 15th place team. Josh Hart is playing like an all-star right now. It's ridiculous. I mean, that guy played for the Lakers. I saw him do absolutely fuck all for 2 years.
DiVincenzo's another one. He just came out of nowhere and just is a key player for that team. It's an interesting one, that one. I think if we want to just sort of jump into that, Philly looking nowhere near what they should be at the moment. And Embiid looks like he's gassed every play. It's a trek for him to even run up and down the court. So yeah, they're looking shot. While the Knicks have just used the energy, I feel, from Madison Square Garden. I think that's something that's been talked about quite a bit, is how Madison Square Garden, there's nothing like it in basketball especially, and that atmosphere. And I think the Knicks are definitely feeding off it. You can see in their late fourth quarter performances that they're really feeding it in and off that crowd. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a surprise, but the manner of which the games have been won, I don't think it's surprising at all. So yes, the results may be a surprise from, if we think about it prior to the playoffs, but I don't think this was a big shock. And look, I think it might be, one of those series where, the Knicks win two games and Philly win both games at home. They're both very good home courts, so it's going to be interesting to see what Philly, sort of put up in their home court.
Well, it's probably panic stations if they lose the series, but I mean, they're looking like they're going to. So fucking unlucky, mate. Not my team. Not my problem.
Well, your team will also, probably get knocked out, but that's by the by.
Yeah. Milwaukee, Indiana, 1-1. Indiana won today. Obviously, Giannis hasn't played yet, so I don't know if he's going to be back or not, but I don't know. I feel like they should win still, even without
Indiana?
No.
Oh, well, look, I think Indiana might have a shot. Now, the first half of the first game, was very shocking if you're an Indiana fan, just because I felt like it was a shock to the system for the team itself. It felt like they were almost sort of unprepared for that moment because they're a very young team and they're not had that much playoff experience in comparison to the Bucks, who have won a championship before. So I think it was a bit of a case where Dame just absolutely lit them up first half, and they just like a deer in headlights. However, from probably the second half of that game on towards this game, I feel like they've been the better team by a country mile. So, yes, Giannis may come back probably in the midpoint of this series, hopefully. But even still, I think Indiana have sort of taken that hit, but not sort of folded like a deck of cards. They've come back up. Like, you look at the Magic, we'll get on to, they look horrendous. And they looked horrendous from the first second that the playoffs started. So I've got to give props to Indiana for sort of coming back and putting up a pretty good performance in about, in 3 halves. So yeah, I think Indiana really do have a shot in this series.
Yeah, and they're going back home now, I guess. So I guess you'd give them the advantage. They're stealing one in Milwaukee. So, and I mean, yeah, as I said, if Giannis is back, obviously they'd be favourites to win. But we'll see if he does return. I don't know how serious his injury was. Obviously, Dame looked insane the first half. I think he dropped 35 in the first half of game 1.
Yeah, mental.
And then
didn't score for the rest of the game. So
yeah, so but it did remind you, like, Damian Lillard is a dude you don't want to play in the playoffs because he can just fucking.
Well, is it a coincidence that it happened when Giannis is out? Is that?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Is that a coincidence? Do you think it's?
I think not.
I think not. Yes, that is a fair assumption. I think it is a bit of they're playing nice in the regular season, like, yeah, you have the ball. No, you have the ball. When in reality, both those guys are pretty ball dominant guys that need the ball to score. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see their dynamic once Giannis gets healthy, and if he does before the end of the series. Another series you want to hit off? Is there another series you want to hit off? Obviously, we'll do the Cavs and Orlando if we stick with the East.
Yeah. Cavs are going to sweep them.
Yeah. I mean, the Cavs must have looked at that playoff seeding and gone, oh, yes. Get in there, my son. The Cavs, I don't think, would beat any other Eastern Conference team other than the Magic. What a joke of a team the Magic are. I mean, what is that? How is that a playoff team? What kind of jiggery-pokery did they pull off in the regular season to get in the fucking playoffs?
Well, people always say that. If you just play hard in the regular season, you can make the playoffs.
The Knicks are the second seed in the East because they play hard. Now, they have actual talent, so they're the second seed.
Paolo's meant to be pretty good.
Well, look, they have talented players, but they're all way too young for them to have any sort of impact in the playoffs. I mean, Wagner, Suggs, Cole Anthony's not young anymore, but still a young player. They've got a young team. Jonathan Isaac looks unreal defensively and has done for this season. But they just look like the lack of offensive talent is jarring. It is.
Joe Ingles, he's running around there.
Jingles is fucking playing. That should tell you all you need to know. But if Paolo Banchero and Wagner are your two best players, it's especially offensively, and those are the two guys, the main guys. Like, it's not like you've got a really, really deep team. It's a very Paolo and Wagner orientated team. It's looking bad. It is looking shocking, and I don't see how they pick up any victories in this series.
No, well, there's always one. Well,
the Cavs don't look great either. It's just like the NBA's. I don't think have they been on ESPN yet? I don't even think they've been on.
No, but all these games have been super early, like 3 a.m.
Well, well, maybe these ones. I mean, obviously they put the Cavs. I'd put the Cavs Magic at what time can least make it least opportunistic to watch? What is the one time where people won't watch it? I'll give the fans what they want and not be reminded that this game is being played. Let's just get rid of this series and just move on to the next one, essentially.
I think it's been banished to the underworld of TV times. But moving on to the West, what was 1v8 was New Orleans. Oh, yeah, New Orleans are fucked without Zion. So,
well, how much is he out for the whole series?
I think he's reevaluated in a week or something. So, most likely.
Yeah.
And it's Zion, so obviously. What the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah, fair. They didn't look a good team, Thunder. They looked beatable. They looked really beatable in that game, which is a shame because for the Pelicans anyway, because I think with Zion, they really could make this a series, but it is one of them where you're like, without Zion, are you really going to muster up a fight? Now, they've only played one game of the series, so it's not, it's not panic stations yet, so but they do need to sort of look at it like how real are our chances here.
Yeah, and I mean, Thunder are the epitome of a young team in the playoffs. This is their first year. They're obviously not up to it in terms of competing for a championship.
Yeah.
They've got the 1 seed, and they could win a series here, which will be great for them, but they're not, they're there for the taking if you've got a good enough team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was something the Pelicans could have done. I mean, if they steal this next game, they're still in the series, and obviously the longer they extend it, there's I guess a chance Zion can come back. But we have seen him take 3 to 4 years to come back from a slight hamstring tear in the past, so we'll see how he goes this time.
So 2v7, the Lakers versus the Chicken Nuggets. How have you seen this series so far?
Well, obviously it's not great so far.
As a Lakers fan, if you're a Nuggets fan, it's fantastic. But
yeah, I have to admit, I think yesterday might have been the hardest loss to take in my history as a Lakers fan.
Really?
Yeah, just the way the game unfolded. I mean, to be up 20 points in the third quarter, to literally, you could see they were like, this is our moment. We're finally going to do it. We're all digging in here. We're going to do it for each other.
We're going to steal a game on the road.
Yeah, we're going to steal a game, and then we can do it from here. And they put everything into that game, and then Jokic and Murray literally can just decide when they want to win the game from any fucking deficit, essentially, it feels like. And just to lose, I didn't see, because I was at work, I didn't actually see how he lost. Last time I saw the game, we were winning with 5 minutes left or something. And then next time I look back, I see the score, and I'm just like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And then I saw how we lost, and it was even more debilitating.
I think you're actually quite lucky that you didn't watch it live, because if you saw Jamal Murray hit a step back over Anthony Davis in the mid-range, you'd be a bit for a buzzer beater as well. You'd be just gut-wrenched.
I literally just sat there staring at the wall for half an hour, just literally contemplating life, because it's all. I mean, we're fucked now. We're completely fucked. Actually, what am I saying? I'm a fan. We're not fucked. We can still win.
So, what's with you in the F-bomb? It's going out of style. Have you been throwing it around at work, or what's going on?
I don't know.
Let's keep it PG, lad.
Sorry, but the team. I guess the team needs to be criticised, or maybe the coach.
The team needs to be criticised. Davenham is not Frajikin good enough. I'll tell you that for nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rui. What happened, mate?
I thought he was a saviour. I thought Davenham
was
playing Torian Prince too much. Rui needed to get in the game.
Torian Prince. I mean, to be fair to Torian, the only guy that scored a point off the bench for us is Torian Prince.
Shout out,
Vincent.
Gabe Vincent. Kendrick Nunn 2.0.
In 2 games, this brother has scored 0 points.
Wasn't he
this dude averaged 20 points per game last year on a finals team. He hasn't put up a single point in 2 games. Oh, the brother is washed.
He is washed.
If we sign another Heat player, that's it. I'm just going to...
Duncan Robinson.
If their jet happens to crash on the way to LA...
Duncan Robinson is officially a Laker next year. I've seen it. Like most, I think it's been quite surprising how close the Lakers have made it. But, I mean, you've obviously got LeBron and AD, so you're going to make it a series. You're going to make it competitive. But how strong and competitive they've been throughout both games has been quite surprising. Even though they've lost both games, it's not the best though. Like, even though I say it's been competitive, it's not. I don't think it's positive, and I'll tell you why. I think when it comes to the clutch time situations, the class of the Nuggets lifts, and the Lakers stay the same. And I think there is no... I just don't see a way you can win this series, because that will never change.
No. Well, I mean, I think that was D'Lo's best game. I mean, after game 1, I was saying, here we go again with this fucking retard. He can't play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then he hit 7 threes, and we still lose. So,
yeah,
not good. Not good at all, really. And
no, not good.
We have no young players. We have no future. LeBron is going to decline. AD is not going to improve. He's in his 30s. We have absolutely no future prospects at this point. It's
sad, yeah.
Yeah, it is not looking good for us. So, although we could win this next 4 games and then we could win the championship, who knows?
You never know. And the theory has been floated about that this was a perfect time for the Lakers to play the Nuggets, because last year when they made the conference finals and they played the Nuggets, it was kind of like, well, we got to the Western Conference Finals. It's fine. We did well. This was a successful year. However, if you lose round one, it's not a successful year for the Lakers. So there is a bit of added, not pressure, but added sort of emphasis from especially the key guys like LeBron and AD that we need to win this. We absolutely need to put our all in. I know we're old. I know we're injury prone, but we just got to put our all into this series. And it is being treated by the Lakers as an NBA Finals match when it's round one. But they still just can't.
But it
get
essentially
over the
is the finals because the Nuggets are clearly the best team. But I mean, Nikola Jokic, I will say, I don't know if he's going to end up in the GOAT conversation, but I mean, over the past 2 years, it could be the greatest basketball that's been played that I've ever seen.
Well, his narrative is. It's funny how his narrative has changed completely since his essentially since his championship run last year. He, prior to that, was viewed probably by us and by many that the most undeserving 2-time MVP in history.
Yeah.
He's just a big guy that could, do a lot of things offensively, but defensively left a lot to be desired. Didn't really impact winning in the playoffs. And a lot of people had sort of a negative connotation associated with him. However, I think it's definitely changed in such a way where people are putting him in the GOAT big man conversations right now.
Well, I mean, he is literally unguardable. You cannot do anything.
He is an unbelievable player. And it's like Luka. When you watch him play, you're like, how are these 6'6" unreal athletes not... how are these athletes getting beat by Luka Doncic, who looks like he's walking down the court? And it's just the way that they play is so technically sound that it just mitigates any, added athleticism that their defender might have. And Jokic he's proven time and time again that he's an unbelievable player, and he'll probably win MVP this year again, and he'll deserve it because he is an unbelievable basketball player that impacts winning to such a level. Jamal Murray has been out pretty often over the past 2 years with injuries. Past 3 years, really, with injuries. And he has just kept the Nuggets competitive. He has kept the Nuggets absolutely in the conversation of in the first top 3 seeds for those 2 years. And you got to give him credit for that with, look, he has a solid supporting cast and a great coach, but he's just proven that he's at a different level.
Yeah, he is insane. So... it's sad to see the glorious king go out like this, but...
Well, he's not going out. He's leaving the Lakers, so
is he?
You could say, 100%. Bronny's declaring for the draft. He'll go wherever
Bronny's not going to get drafted.
I think he will.
Talk about flop of a season.
I don't think you understand his value to a team. Like, what?
Yeah, but
he averaged
4 points in college.
Second-round picks, what difference would, let's say, I don't know, the Heat, draft some random college player with the 54th pick in the draft. Are they ever going to... does anyone care? Will it make any impact on them whatsoever? Teams sell second-round picks for, like, $2. Like, they'll sell them... They'll literally sell second-round picks. So, the value of Bronny, not only as his brand, but is having his dad come as well, potentially, there is value in drafting him.
He is under contract.
No, he's not. I thought he's got a player option.
No, he re-signed.
I thought he was a free agent this year.
No.
I swear he was a free agent this year.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
He saw how Bronny was playing. He was like, let me re-sign.
Maybe. But no, I think there is value in drafting Bronny. There is a now, will he be probably Norris Cole? Yes. But there is still value in having him. So I disagree that he won't get drafted.
But didn't he apply for a college transfer?
He did both. He applied to be in the transfer portal, but he also declared for the draft at the same time, which a lot of players do, just essentially to see where they're, if they're going to be drafted or not. So they can put their name in and rescind it later if they don't feel like they're going to be drafted. So...
Right. Okay. Fair enough. We'll move on from that depression, and we can go Clippers. Clippers, Mavs.
What about 3 seed?
3 seed. Oh, Suns. They're screwed.
Oh yes. there's. I think there's not a player that I like more outside of the Clippers, more than Anthony Edwards. Sorry, Anthony Edwards is probably the player I like the most outside of the Clippers. That's how I should have phrased it to start. Sorry.
I would have said that before the All-Star game, but then I hated him after that.
Well, look, everyone was taking the piss.
Yeah.
No, you can't really singularly blame him. But no, he is such a dog. It's crazy. He just brings back a level of competitiveness and just an arrogance that you love to see as a fan. So even though I don't like a lot of this Timberwolves team, I think they're a boring team, frankly. They got a bit of a boring coach, got a bit of a boring superstar. They've got a bit of a boring and annoying center who thinks he's an all-time legend. They've got a bit of a boring team, apart from Anthony Edwards. And I think he is a shining light in that team. And the Suns look like an absolute joke right now. I don't know what you think about it.
Well, Booker and Beal, they can't even get 20 points. I mean, what is going on? If nothing else, they can put up shots because they got no one else on the team that can do it. So,
yeah, they look like an absolute joke. I mean, let's be real. They look like an absolute joke. So, we said there's no way that they were ever making it far in the playoffs, and it's not surprising at all. I think probably Timberwolves win this in 5. Do you reckon?
Yeah, 5.
Now, Clippers, Mavs, probably in the NBA the toughest, probably the most even series, I'd say. Would you say?
Yeah, probably. And we had this long discussion. We were like, it's probably 7 either way. We don't know which way it's going to swing.
Look, we did say that. We have no idea, but it's going to go 7 either way. And the first 2 games have proved that that's probably going to happen. As a Clippers fan, I was very encouraged after game 1. Without Kawhi, the way we just dominated that game, essentially, especially first half. I think Harden looked great. Russ looked great. We were locking up everyone outside of Doncic and Kyrie, which is essentially what you want to do. And Doncic didn't play that well, I didn't think. So I think we played better against him. It was an all-around great performance. Now, today, we looked clunky. We just did. Kawhi looked bad. Russ, even though he had impact in terms of other things, his field goal percentage wasn't good enough. Norman Powell wasn't efficient enough. We just weren't efficient enough scoring. And look, you have those type of games in the playoffs. And that was a sort of sentiment from Clippers fans, I feel, that they felt like Ty Lue misunderstood the game and put players that were shooting well rather than the players that were actually impacting defensively and assisting wise. Sorry, my throat's dry as hell. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I think the Clippers probably are looking the better team at the moment. It's a game we should have won, and games that you can win in the playoffs, you've got to close out, and we just didn't. They went on a 14-0 run midway through the fourth quarter that really killed the game. And yeah, we lost it, but hopefully we can get it back on the road.
Yeah, both teams have looked decent. Obviously, it's going to be close. So, yeah, Kawhi is obviously the X factor. If he looks hampered by the injury, it's going to be an issue.
I think just rust. I don't think I think it was just he looked like he was out of the game. He didn't look like he was. His mentally was there. So I think it's just more him getting game time minutes. So hopefully I'm right. That's probably me being
PG
biased.
also playoff P
was good today.
Was he?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Okay, well,
you didn't think he was good?
Well, the first game he was not good.
Well, but when you have Harden playing well, you have Russ playing. Sorry.
Playing what?
Russ playing well. I think it doesn't matter that much. So.
Well, yeah, but he's just notoriously shit in the playoffs. So we'll see how we can go. I saw he did a podcast P. He did an episode in between game 1 and 2. So
it's probably filmed before, was it?
No, it was a review of game 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Focus on basketball.
The new Draymond Green.
Focus on basketball.
Straight from the game to the studio. Let's get my thoughts out. Anyway, Draymond's got a lot of time for podcasting now, so
yeah,
we'll see how that goes for him. Basketball, that's all the series, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to quickly talk about the USA team? Do you see the thing they did for that?
Yeah, they handed the jerseys out.
Yeah. What do you think on the team? Because Joel Embiid on the team is just weird to me. I don't like it.
Why?
Because do I need to explain that?
Because he has an African accent. Is that why?
That's part of it. No, it's not.
Racist.
But he's clearly. How long has he lived in America for?
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. But we wanted Kyrie to play for
well, Australia. He can now. They didn't pick him.
Yeah, I don't have a major. I don't have a major fucking upset about. Oh my god, Embiid's picked.
No, but it's just weird to me. And I mean, Halliburton, how the fuck did he make the team?
Fucking unreal player, that's why.
For the first quarter of the season, he was.
I think it was a bit bullshit that Kawhi was like on the verge of being picked. I mean, that's a bit bullshit. Come on.
Well, yeah, but you got players like who else made it? Drew Holiday over like PG and
Drew
Jimmy
Holiday
Butler?
is exactly the player that you like. I get he's not the
No.
biggest name, but he's not a player.
Well, all I'm saying is it's not the Avengers. It's not what it could have been. It's
not what it
just-
could have been. You're right.
It's
not what it could have been.
No, I don't want a documentary about it. Okay, they're obviously going to win the gold.
Obviously, I don't think it's that obvious.
Really? How is it not obvious?
I think, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, Luka has got an ability to carry a team. I think Canada look unreal. So, yeah, I wouldn't definitely rank off. I'd probably put Canada as the second favorite.
Yeah, well, I'd probably put Australia as favourites.
Yeah, we're gonna do wonders with fucking who? Dyson Daniels. I don't know, bro. Anyway, another sport you'd like to move on. Let's move on to maybe F1. Have you got sort of some
F1?
you'd like to?
Yeah,
get off
yeah.
your chest?
So the Chinese Grand Prix, obviously on the weekend. I believe it was a sprint race weekend. Every weekend needs to be a sprint race weekend now. The fucking practice sessions, they have to go. They're so boring and terrible. The sprint races are just so much better as a weekend because you actually tune in on the Friday and the Saturday because every session, except for first practice, is meaningful. Having 3 practices it's an ancient formula. It needs to go. That's it. Let's do sprints every week. Moving on from that, though, the actual race itself, obviously no one cares that Verstappen won. The only thing people are talking about is obviously the safety car restart, where Lance Stroll I think he forgot that he had a brake in his car, it seems like, and he
It happens to the best of them.
yeah, it does. I mean, I usually remember when I'm driving my car, but seems to have gotten the better of him that time, that you're meant to brake before you run into the cars in front of you, and he ended up taking out the most important driver on the grid, Daniel Ricciardo. Absolutely terrible scenes. He was probably on for points as well. I think he was in 8th at the time. It was a safety car restart.
God. What lap was it?
It was lap 30 or something.
Oh,
It was definitely on for points, and the man that obviously the backlash. Obviously, Stroll's getting flamed, rightfully so. I mean, it's a safety car restart. What are you doing, mate? How can you crash in a safety car restart? But obviously, everyone's clowning Stroll because he came out and basically said he did nothing wrong. He shouldn't have got penalised. Blah blah blah. And then, have you seen Danny Rick's response?
I have.
You don't often see him get mad, but he was
seething.
Yeah.
He was like, hang on, now that he's fucking chatting some shit, let me fucking say what actually happened. Yeah, you can see it was a definite Stroll mistake, but he's playing it off like that ain't my fault.
and the funny thing is,
he brake checked me. He brake checked.
he brake checked me, and because he was on the onboard, he was looking at the corner, not at the car in front of him, which was Danny Rick, and there was about 5 cars in front of him, all stopping and slowing up, and he's just looking at the corner, just on his jolly way, like expecting to just fly around the corner. Like the guy doesn't know what's going on, but his dad is a billionaire, so his job is not in jeopardy, which is, Aston Martin are trying to run themselves into the ground. They're the only team in Formula One history trying to do Formula One with only one driver. So kudos to them.
They've got a good driver to be that one driver.
They do.
To be fair.
They do. At 43 years of age, is he good, or is Lance Stroll just that shit? That's the question. Do they have a
I think
rocket
it's a bit
ship?
of both.
Do they
I
have
think
a
it's bit of
rocket
both.
ship, but it just doesn't feel like it?
Yeah, maybe you put Lewis in it and he wins, another title. I think it's a bit of a weird one with that one. Now, in terms of the result as a whole, was there results that shocked you, or in terms of placings?
Not really.
Was there an event outside the race that was interesting, or was it just the Danny Rick show?
That was the main talking point for sure. The Danny Rick show, and everyone's feeling like he really needed a big race because obviously he started.
I think
the season.
it's more you. That's
Well, no,
feeling.
everyone's thinking that because everyone loves Danny Rick. He's everyone's favourite driver.
Yeah,
and obviously he hasn't had the greatest start to the season. So everyone
say that again.
Yeah, and it was about this time last year that Nick De Vries got sort of chopped by Red Bull.
I don't think Danny Rick would get chopped though.
No, they're pretty ruthless though.
But Danny Rick is
Look,
Danny Rick.
let's be honest. The only reason he's in this position is because everyone loves him.
Well, he's also got a prior relationship with Red Bull, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's like Christian Horner loves him. He wants him in the Red Bull seat, but he just
can't get him in there because he's shit.
pretty much.
So yeah, it's one of them for Danny. Hopefully he gets the Red Bull seat. Highly doubt it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and he beat Yuki in qualifying, which is good signs. So
is Yuki considered for the Red Bull seat? No.
well,
Danny Rick nearly beat him in qualifying, so he's on the cards. Now moving on from F1 is the UFC. I'm not sure if we talked about the results itself after UFC 300. Did you want to talk about your experience watching it as well, or you want to sort of harp on about the whole event?
Yeah, UFC. It was a great experience. I think the card over-delivered, I guess you could say. Obviously, everyone sort of critiqued it in the lead-up that it wasn't as big as what it could have been. But the fights themselves were obviously incredible. Dana White was, he was so up himself after it. You could just see he was so proud of himself. Like, I showed you.
No
fuckers.
one doubted the depth of the card. We just said the top line of it wasn't the biggest name that you should have done for UFC 300. Now, it turns out, the top fights were unbelievable fights, but we knew that was going to happen. It was more the fact that the name has got to also match the fight quality when it comes to UFC 300, and we just didn't feel like that happened. Now, if you're a diehard UFC fan, we were happy with the card how it was because of the amount of depth, and you probably sat down in front of your TV for 6 hours watching the fights. But for the casual and for like myself, it wasn't as it wasn't as great as it could have been. But in terms of we watched it together at the pub, unbelievable. The scenes there, it was busy. Everybody was into it. The fights were great. Now, there was a brief intermission. I believe it was during the women's title fight. I think we had a bit of a pokey break.
Yeah.
You had a... did you watch that fight or...?
I watched most of it.
Well, it wasn't... I didn't know any of them, to be fair. I wasn't really keen. Well, I know Wei Li. Is that it? I knew her, and she's obviously a great fighter, but it just wasn't really my fight. Apart from that, the rest of the card, I was really interested
and I'm pretty sure I picked the pretty much all the fights correctly, I think.
Yeah, I doubt that happened.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Because you'd be...
Actually, no, I think I picked Gaethje, but apart from that... But anyway, that was obviously the highlight of the night, the Gaethje-Max
unreal.
fight. Insane fight. Insane finish. Probably maybe the best finish in UFC history.
Well, a mate of ours had Max Holloway by TKO or KO. And the absolute scenes I was feeling for him after he knocked him out with 1 second to go was because I just pictured myself. Imagine if I had made that bet and I was feeling that, like, fuck, I can't believe he's dominated this much and he hasn't knocked him out. And then you just hit it last second. Now, we had another mate who had Max by decision. So he wasn't exactly pleased by that result. So swings and roundabouts. But What a great fight that was. Obviously, do you want to talk about the main card? Is
Pereira?
Or the main event? Yeah.
Yeah, Pereira, another badass moment. I don't think I really picked it up at the time in the pub because, there's lots of things going on. But he got kicked in the dick. He pushed the ref away.
I watched that again. I was like,
next second.
I didn't notice that either. I was like, holy crap, that is ballsy.
Yeah.
He hits in the nut. Herb Dean's like, come on, we've got to stop this. He's like, back off, mate. Abosh. And knocks him out. So, fair play to the guy. I mean, he's in terms of humans you'd least want to fight in the world, he's probably top 3.
Yeah, because he's so stoic and just, I don't know. And he's probably the one guy that's broken through without speaking a lick of English to be a star.
Yeah. Great marketing by the UFC.
Yeah,
great
just
marketing.
purely based off his in-fight performances.
Also storylines as well with Adesanya as well. I think that sort of plays up to it. But yeah, I agree. His style is really... and look, boxers always do well in the UFC because they're entertaining.
And favourable matchups because, I mean, I don't think he's fought a wrestler. Like, he's done MMA for 2 or 3 years. There's no way he could... Imagine if he fought John Jones. Like, he would get destroyed.
Well, or even an Aspinall, I think he'd get destroyed. Like a technician.
Well,
like
that's he wants Aspinall next.
I think he'd get absolutely fucking cooked by Aspinall. But
Well, if it's standing up, I think he beats Aspinall.
I think Aspinall is more than capable of standing. I think Aspinall's probably the best heavyweight in the world. I mean, I think he's... If he fights John Jones right now, I'd give him a shot. I'd honestly give him a 50-50 shot.
I would as well. But I think Pereira, striking-wise, is another level to both of those guys. And Aspinall has a slightly dodgy striking defense.
Because he's how quick that guy is.
Yeah, but his fights are just always over within 2 minutes, so he never gets exposed for it. But anyway, following these the fight card, Dana White obviously sat down in his press conference. He was, very proud of himself, and then he just sits there with a smug look on his face. And he goes, by the way, Dustin versus Islam, Strickland versus Costa, and Conor versus Chandler. It's all done.
Gosh. What an announcement. And then the amount of fucking edits I've seen on TikTok of fucking Dana saying Conor versus Chandler, and then it just transitioning to fucking my childhood. It was just... it was beautiful stuff. Yeah, Conor's back, and I couldn't be happier, if I'm honest. The king is back, as they say. He is undoubtedly the biggest box office name in the history of the UFC, and probably forever. He is the biggest name there ever has been in mixed martial arts. So to see him back against a pretty tough opponent, but he has a lot of ring rust as well, so I think that helps Conor. But yeah, I think having... an entertaining matchup is a one to look forward to. He could have taken an easier matchup, but it's going to be an entertaining one nonetheless. And hopefully Conor can get up and get that get that title shot.
Well, the fight's at 170, so it's going to have no bearing on.
Is it 170? Is it Islam?
Leon?
Oh, Leon. Could you imagine that England versus Oh God, I'm just craving my pants just thinking about it.
Leon would kill him.
But the pre-fight alone would be sensational. It would be... The marketing team is just like praying. I can guarantee the head of marketing at UFC is like... He's on his hands and knees every night just praying. Just please, Conor, you just win this fight so I get the opportunity to market it England versus Ireland.
But I would think they would rather him fight Islam because the Khabib storyline. But yeah, we'll see. I mean... To be fair, there's just so many options because Max Holloway deserves a title shot at lightweight or featherweight, essentially. But they're probably going to do the Volk Topuria rematch, so he's not going to get that. They've just done Dustin Islam, so he's not going to get that. There's been thrown around that if Conor wins, they should do Conor Max for the BMF belt as a rematch, which is, I think that would be a sick fight.
I don't hate it, but I think Conor gets slapped. He gets abs.
Yeah, Max would kill him. Even though Conor won the first fight. They fought before.
I mean, he killed... Well, yeah, Conor killed Poirier the first fight, but doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly. So, interesting. We'll see. Hopefully he just performs well. I mean, hopefully he can win. If there's one guy that is somehow highly ranked, I don't know how Chandler's highly ranked, to be honest. I think he's won 1 or 2 fights in the UFC and lost all the rest. And he hasn't fought in over 2 years. So, but anyway, he's ranked.
Well, to be fair to Chandler, he fought the best of the best. It's not like he was fighting bums.
Yeah, but he lost to them.
Yeah, I mean, but still, I think he's been sort of rewarded by having an entertaining fights as well as, not shying away from the best fighters.
I love all the memes talking about Michael Chandler. Just when he steps into the octagon, he just turns into someone with 4 extra chromosomes the way he fights because he just throws away all his fights
which. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. It will be legendary. And
also that on the that same card, rumored they're trying to do Ian Gary versus Colby Covington as the co-main.
Oh,
which would be fucking beautiful.
Would that be the best sort of box office UFC? Card of all time?
It would be up there.
I mean, surely. Sure. I mean, the whole of Ireland would be watching that.
Yeah. Yeah, and Colby's the perfect guy because everyone hates Colby now after his last fight. Well, Ian Gary hasn't got the best reputation. Everyone hates Ian Gary because of
personal choices.
Off-field incidents, I guess.
Well, look, if it was me, would I hire my wife's ex-husband to be my personal trainer and hang around the house all the time? No. If I'm brutally honest. So, yeah. But I think it's been a bit unjustified, his sort of, the hate that he's got. I mean...
Really?
Yeah, well, because it's not like he brings it up. Like it's not anyone else's business. If he's making that decision in his life, he's not like he's fucking like Colby Covington and he's trying to bring shit to himself and trying to bring heat to himself. He's just living his life, and people just found out that he's hanging around with his wife.
Did you see the videos Colby made about him? He made a video calling him out, and he was like,
"Oh God!"
He was roasting the shit out of him. He was like, "There's 3 stipulations for me to fight you, buddy. 1, Layla needs to get on her knees and beg.
Oh my God.
2, you have to turn your Instagram comments on." Yeah, it was funny, but yeah, that would be amazing if it happens. Obviously, it is kind of hard to get Colby to actually sign on the dotted line. He doesn't do it very often unless it's for a title. So we'll see how that goes. But
I don't know why it's for a title. He loses every title shot he's ever in. So
exactly.
I think this is a good fight for him to get his reputation back. And I would be. Oh, that would be an unreal. Oh, just thinking about just the taste of the first beer that I'd have at a pub while anticipating that fight. It would just be sensational. I might have to just take like a day in lieu for the next day. If it's a Sunday, I just got to take the next day off. I can't sit at work and just think about that all day. I need a day to reset after that.
I think for sure. I mean, it's got to be a big day when it happens. If it happens, hopefully it does.
Well, Connor's happening, so it's going to happen regardless.
Last bit of combat news. Ryan Garcia, did you see that?
I did. Surprising. Now the guy has basically got CT. I mean, the guy's absolutely cooked upstairs.
It's come out that it was all an act, basically.
No, it's not. There's no way that it's an act. He was 2 months ago. He was talking about how he was in a secret meeting with fucking like the heads of like the world of business, and he's like had a meeting about aliens and there's no way he's cooked up. He is 100% got CT. There is no shot that that's all made up.
Yeah, and the people, everyone's saying. Cocaine beats technique in boxing. There's just
Oscar De La Hoya's is manager,
cocaine is really, it's a good training device. I mean, John Jones, his whole career was on it. Obviously,
well, John Jones could have been on fucking anything and he'd still be champion of the world. So, massive upset really. But he destroyed him. I think he dropped him. The ref sort of screwed up his first. I don't know if it was his first, but it was early knockdown that he had. But yeah, he dominated the fight, and I mean it was a shock. His reputation. I mean, he was known as like a wonder boy early on, and then he got into like fucking TikTok and shit. So he was kind of viewed as a joke, and he was more.
And he lost a Tank.
But yeah, he lost a Tank. He was he was going down the path of like almost Logan Paul fighting. You know, like gonna fight like Logan Paul, and all the like influencers kind of. Right now, he'd fucking absolutely destroy them. But he was on that road of just being. Not really in serious contention for any major belts, but he is. Yeah, he really did shock the world. But it was surprising.
Yeah. So, but he didn't actually win the belts because he did miss weight. So, there was.
It was an act. I missed the weight on purpose. Yeah, if he is 100% cooked in the head, it's like. Have you seen? Do you know who Antonio Brown is?
Yeah.
If you've seen his Twitter account, that's. God.
What about John Jones' brother? Isn't he? Worse?
Yeah, he's insane as well.
Yeah,
but. Antonio Brown was still cooked with CT, but he was like still a good player. Like he was still like when he was playing for the Bucks, he was a good player with Tom Brady, really good player. But he was mentally gone. Like you could tell he's mental. So I'm not just because a guy has CT doesn't mean he can't box. Like because Ryan Garcia can still fight, but he's still cooked in the head. I don't know what he's saying about an act. They'll come out with an act in 2 months' time, guaranteed. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the stuff he seems pretty sane on the stuff he's doing post fight.
No, he's cooked. He is absolutely cooked.
Yeah, but the press conference was funny. Where it was just like, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus." He just said it for like 30 seconds straight. And Devin Haney, to be fair, it kind of worked because he just didn't know what to do. He was kind of just sitting there the whole time, and I think he thought he was going to win easily because this guy is off the rails. And then he obviously goes in there and just gets peppered. So, yeah. I mean, boxing is... Ryan Garcia is saving boxing, apparently.
No, I don't think he's saving boxing. Look, with all due respect, boxing has always been... Well, not always. Floyd had a time. Pacquiao had a time. But large majority of the time, it's always with the heavyweights. And, yeah. The heavyweights control it. And if Tyson Fury can get back in the ring and Usyk can get back in the ring, I think it's just... and Joshua and Wilder can get there. They control boxing.
Well, yeah, I mean, the heavyweights always do, but, you know, when you have more weight divisions being relevant, that's when the sport's good, I guess.
But UFC is taken over.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And the one thing I noticed is, like, if you are a rival mixed martial arts organization, you just got to pack it up. I mean, what are you doing just slowly, like, driving towards bankruptcy anyway? You just got to pack it up.
Well, yeah, you've just got to understand that the UFC is...
Yeah, I mean...
It's like trying to do a rival to the NFL. It's just... give up.
The like the PFL, for example, they've... what they've done... The two biggest signings they've made is Francis Ngannou and Jake Paul. And they've, for the past 2 years, been paying them millions of dollars to not fight in their organization.
Bizarre tactic.
They've they're like, here, go and do some boxing. We'll pay you millions of dollars and we'll just bankrupt ourselves.
Smart.
But you fight for us technically. So, you know, that's good shit from them. They'll probably be in the ground soon. So
but it's tough because even like UFC fighters, tough to get. You get ranked UFC fighters that not really household names. The sport isn't as. But
more so than boxing. Like, nobody knows the 10th in line boxing contender.
No,
but you wouldn't. Like, some people would know the 10th UFC lightweight.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah, it is. But then again, there's a reason. It's always going to be known as bargain. It's just going to be known as nowhere near the UFC quality, because if they were good enough, they'd be in the UFC. And that's the reality. That's the reason why, the NBA reigns superior over any other basketball, organization. And by the NFL, because if the players were good enough, if the athletes were good enough, they'd be in the NFL and the NBA. So it's one of them that you're not going to really have that much success, especially when it's an American organization. So,
yeah. Well, big times for the UFC. Lots of stuff coming up. We've got Australia, Perth in August. So exciting times for the rest of the year. Big year ahead for the company. So that's good for all the
especially
fans.
with Conor coming back. Briefly touch on football before we wrap it up. Interesting stuff. Man United nearly bottled it to Coventry in the FA Cup semi-final, which wasn't the best look. It didn't even celebrate. If you watch the players, they looked like embarrassed because they went to penalties, and the fact that they went to penalties against 8th place in the championship is pretty embarrassing. So, yeah, we had a 3-0 lead, bottled the 3-0 lead.
Haven't they had a couple of those?
Well, look, we're in a transition stage at the moment. We've got some tough games coming up. We're going to get absolutely cooked by Man City in the final, so that's fun.
It's a rematch of last year.
Yeah, it's a rematch. I will not be watching with you. I can tell you that for free.
Surely don't even bother.
No, I'm going to watch it, but I'm not going to watch it with you. There's no chance. My anger issues could not deal with watching it with you. It could not, because we're going to get pumped, and I know we're going to get pumped, and it'll just be bad. It'll just be bad. But yeah, Champions League, interesting. City knocked out, Arsenal knocked out. Both bottled it, which was
Who too?
Well, Man City lost to Madrid. Arsenal lost to Bayern. So Harry Kane knocked out Arsenal, which was funny. But yeah, Arsenal bottled it.
So Harry Kane could still win a trophy this year.
Yeah, they're still in the in Champo. So it's Bayern, Dortmund, Real Madrid, and what's the other one? There's another one. Can't remember off the top of my head.
So Madrid won on penalties.
Yeah, so
PSG?
Yes, PSG. So that's the interesting one. I think Dortmund's looking good with Sancho in it, which is interesting because he's a Man United player, which is
very
great.
interesting.
But yeah, Champions League, great. It was a great day when Arsenal and City lost. It was a great day because it just a weight was almost lifted off my shoulders. It really was because watching City win it again or Arsenal win it would be an absolute nightmare. Arsenal obviously lost to Villa. I think we might have touched on it briefly last episode. But they've won the past 2 Premier League games, so I think they're 4 points ahead, but they've also played 2 more games than both City and Liverpool. So, yeah, interesting in the Premier League and Champo heating up.
How many games are left?
I think there's 6. It depends based on the team because teams play different amounts. But I believe it might be 6. I'm not too sure. But essentially, not looking good for United as per. We've only got the FA Cup to play for. Other than that, why would we even bother?
Down in 7th. Oof.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Is that any sort of European football?
If we win the FA Cup,
what does that get? Europa League. But 7th doesn't do
Conference
anything.
League.
Ugh, yuck.
Yeah, I know. But look, to be fair, we've had 65 injuries this year, and that's not. You think that's an exaggeration? That is actually not an exaggeration. We have had 65 instances of players either being injured, or having an illness in relation to missing a match. 65.
Right. Well, is that something to do with the training that's being done?
Well, according to Ronaldo, when he came out a couple of years ago, no facilities. Not in that way. Yeah, apparently we got the facilities of, Boreham Wood.
Yeah, so put in an ice bath.
Well, yeah, Sydney FC have got better facilities than us, so that's Man United for you. So good job,
but
guys.
Is Ten Hag in trouble?
He will be. I wouldn't sack him simply because the options out there aren't great, for one. And two, with the injury, it's so hard to judge based on the season because he hasn't had his full team. Like, he hasn't had the team. He's been playing Maguire, Kambwala. It's just been a nightmare. The only player that's been consistently playing is Onana. And he was shocking at the start of the... Now, look, to be fair to the guy, he's turned it around.
Does he? Okay.
But he was the reason we were knocked out of the Champions League. 100%. So, that's it. That's the only guy that's been healthy the whole year. So, it's tough. It is tough. So, it's tough.
What about... Well, Sancho can come back, right?
Not with... If we keep the manager, he's gone. Because they hate each other.
Oh.
Even if he goes, I still think he's gone because he can't stand United and has performed everywhere else apart from United. So
what about Greenwood? Is he coming back?
I don't know about that one. I think if I worked in public relations for Man United, I would highly recommend that we wouldn't bring him back. However, if I worked for a different department in Man United, I might say bring him in. So look, you never know, but.
Look, I don't think public relations have much sway in those sorts of matters.
They don't. No. But look, he's a talented player. However,
has he been playing well?
Yeah, he's been playing well for Getafe. But reality, we need to move on because the media shit that you'd get for United would just be an absolute nightmare. Anytime he has a bad performance, he get booed at every stadium. I think the pressure on him and the club would get too much. So I think it's best for both sides if we let him go.
Yeah.
Go to Spain, mate. You're not going to get.
Do you have any signings lined up? Is anyone linked?
No. God, no.
So it's just pray that Rashford can resurge.
Well, Rashford has been horrendous, so that's not going to happen.
But he plays well, like on and off seasons. He doesn't have on and off months. He has on and off seasons.
It's bizarre. Almost like he plays well in a contract year when he wants a new guy. Like, it's bizarre. It's like he gets a new contract, stinks up the bed. Then the contract runs out. The last year of the contract, plays unbelievably. Shock. No, he's a very talented footballer, but he's when he gets in bad form, he takes him a year to get out of it. So it's one of them. It's not looking great.
Højlund, is he doing well?
He's doing okay, but he just gets no service. I mean, look, we're not playing good football at all. We're just not playing football at all because we have no players. So everyone's exhausted that's playing because they've played 100 games in a row.
So if you're on manager career mode, they have
0
orange fitness.
Yeah, red fitness. So
right,
yeah, it's not looking good. But yeah, look, we'll hope for the best for the new year. And yeah,
what's going? Is Euros coming up soon?
I believe, is it Euros? It must be. World Cup was 2022, so yeah, it would be. It'd be Euros. So yeah, exciting. Euros coming up. Yeah, hopefully England do well. I'll be paying attention, and yeah, hopefully England rise up.
Look, I think it's going to come home.
I've been saying it for years.
Obviously, I'm joking. There's no way.
I've been saying it for years.
But
And
does it count if the Euros come home? Is that good enough?
well, look, we were close. It felt like it does. It does feel like it does. Now, it would be more romantic if the first trophy we brought home was the World Cup.
Mm.
However, I would take the Euros.
Well, yeah, we're not in a position to pick here, are we?
No. We're not in a position to pick whatsoever. And that was probably one of the worst times of my life when we lost to Italy in the final. God, that was bad. It was
that
during
4 years ago?
Yeah, it was during COVID.
But what about the work? That can't have been worse than losing to Croatia. The World Cup.
No, yeah, the Croatia one was the worst. Yeah, Croatia was worse.
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad. That was so bad. I think it was made worse because you were there.
Mm.
Again, you're there every time we.
Well, that one
my
I
team
didn't.
loses.
That one I didn't have to support England. You know, I'm not a punk.
But no,
so.
that was bad. That was bad. We've had some bad ones. We've had some real bad ones. Yeah, we've had some shockers. But part of being an England fan, you got to love it. Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed a bit of an NBA breakdown today, which I enjoyed. And hopefully the Clips can get up and United can get up in any game that they play in the future.
And the Lakers can get up. Most
won't
important.
happen, but we're here. We'll pray for you and hope for your happiness in life. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and arrivederci.
Peace out.